don't have to say that I manage agents and I know my stuff. And sometimes I don't. Okay? So he got mad and he said, I'm what they say, that I was, as realtor, I was just trying to make money. But why would I advise him incorrectly? Why would I be telling him? He said because I was telling him there was 14, that I was making that storm of offers. So one thing, your fiduciary responsibility is to give the details, whether they like it or not. If the house is 190, it's 190. I'm giving you my comparables, you sign off. You want to offer 170, all the power to you. You want to offer 200 or 300,000 for a 190 house, it's your money. Your fiduciary responsibility is to educate and tell them, it might not appraise. If it's your cash and you want to deal with your cash and it's cash, it's your deal. I have covered my bases.
Exactly.
I have covered. Your job is to cover your bases. Okay, so when I knock you down at the CMA, I say, unacceptable. You need to argue with me. Why am I making you argue? Why Maria's pushing back and gonna start rebuttaling my CMAs if she doesn't see what she does? We have a Tidewater. You learned something over the weekend.
What? Tidewater?
Yes. Okay. So, and she learned something over the weekend, and we knew it was coming. Okay. Why? I'm preparing you. The more you do it right, the easier when we have hiccups, it's not gonna scare you. So what happened with this guy? He literally started yelling at me. I just kept my cool. He says, well, no, he says, I said, you know what, sir, I'm representing you. I'm trying to represent you. And I said, he says, you're not representing the seller? He says, no. And he calmed down.
Why do they think that?
And so he said, you know what? And I find out he has that other representation. So he lied to me even more. He's made other, and he wasn't disclosing. So I let him go. The wife called me back and apologized to me and says, you know what, ma'am, I'm so sorry. We got a hold of the listing agent. He says there's now 20 offers. I said, in the morning there was 14, now there's 20. And he says, I'm so sorry. And I said, I think this is not the right time. He says, they're trying to get into a new house. Their house is gonna close in New Mexico. They're about to close on the 4th. They're trying to,
Why were they buying over here?
because they want to transfer back. They want to move back to El Paso.
With the property under contract over there?
Mm-hmm. They're going to use the funds. They're going to use the funds. So she was very apologetic. She was so embarrassed with the behavior of her husband because I was giving the information. I was not lying to them. I explained everything to them. And she said, he told me that the offers are in the 170s. Did you do your homework? Yes. Can it happen to anybody? It can happen. That's the reason why we're going to be going over this very detailed stuff, whether it's over your head, but it's not. Go ahead.
No, it'll be easy. And the thing to summarize that with the CMAs is it's a state law requirement.
Mm-hmm.
A CMA does have to accompany your offer because, like Maria was saying, it's to advise your customers, your buyers, or your sellers on what it is, especially with higher priced offers. Okay, so you all should have gotten this sheet a while back when I sent it before. I will send it again because I did do some edits. So this is going to be your baseline, okay, for your adjustments and everything, and it gives instructions from the top to bottom on how I do it. Okay, so on the top, the Flex MLS. Okay, so this is how I do it. Okay, you go in and it's gonna I create my own little template to have all this info that you see here. So, and then we'll get into that when we do the adjustments. Okay, so whenever I'm gonna do, let me see if I picked a house already. I think I did. Okay, so I just picked one just right now. Okay, so I'm gonna do the CMA like I don't know. Okay, so like that, you guys can see it. If you want to record it with your phones, you can. I am screen recording it too, and I'll send you guys a link, but it's up to you, however you want to do it. Okay, so on CMA, you go CMA and then new, and then you're going to have residential. Okay, we're going to pick residential for this one. And for the statistics type, it'll be the square footage. Okay, that's going to be for your square foot main. And then now we're going to come here to the cover page. The cover page, what I do in the very beginning is I will just put typically the address. That's the MLS number, but just for right now, and we'll change it later, okay? Because we need to move a little ahead before we can come back and actually save it, okay? Your title, you can put it however you want, you know, CMA preparation for Mr. and Mrs. James Bond, or however you want to do it, okay? Here, this, I'll fill it in at the end. I'll show you how I do that. Okay, but you just have to go through it to get to the next step before you can save it. Okay, in the comments, I have an actual paragraph that says, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, for doing a listing presentation on your house. This is geared more for an actual listing presentation, and then if you're doing it for your seller, for your buyer, you can just put something else. This is what I think the house will be worth. Okay, now for the subject property address information, on this, if you're going to do this for a buyer, you're going to go and you're going to see the house, or you're going to see the house on MLS. So you already have your MLS number. Okay, so you can put auto-populate from existing listing. And I already have the MLS number there. Okay, and the way I do it is I go up on the top, you have the MLS. I just kind of highlight it and then copy and paste, or copy it. On Macs, it's Command C, and on PCs, it's going to be like Function C, something like that. I hardly use PCs. Okay, so, and then you auto-populate, and then there she is. Okay, and it'll pop up. Now, if you're going to do this for a listing presentation, you can look it up and see if that listing has been in there before. Okay, if it is, you can use the same MLS number unless there's been changes to the house. If it's been added to or whatever, you can still do it and put it in so it gets the majority of the info, but you can change the fields here. If they added a bathroom, you can add a bathroom to there. Okay, now, very important on the listings. If you're gonna do one for a listing presentation, you need to see the house. Okay, if you're gonna do one, just run and gun it before you go and do your presentation. Do make sure you tell them this is just very basic. I need to see the house before I give you an accurate CMA, because you can see it. If they tell you I've remodeled it, it's beautiful, and then you get there and you've made adjustments accordingly, and then you get there and it's roach infested, then now you're gonna look a little foolish because you overpriced it. It's easier to underprice and come up than to overprice and come down. That pisses people off. Okay, so you do want to have it like that. Okay, and when you go and you do your preview of the house that you're going to do a listing presentation, take pictures. Take pictures with your phone or take some video, because when you come back and you do your comps, you're going to look through, and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, and you need to do comparable comps. If you say, well, did it have a fireplace in it? Was the kitchen granite or was it laminate? I can't remember. Because as you're going through, the seller's also going to be talking to you. Oh, I did this. Oh, look at this. Look at this. And then it's like when I do inspections and they're talking to me, it's very distracting. Okay, so pictures of the house like that. You can compare it. When you arrive, take the front picture of it like that. If you forget, you can upload one somehow. Okay. So, but for the listings, it is very important. Do see the house. Now, here, for the templates, this is where you can add your info. Okay, now MLS is going to have some of these already here. I'm not sure. I know they have like bedrooms and bathrooms and all that. But the fields, this is all the stuff that I put. Okay, because these are the important adjustments. So as you see see how I have everything put in here. Okay.
Your MLS only has up to the year built.
Okay.
The rest are usually added.
So I added garage, fireplace, all this stuff, pool on property, guest house. I also have others, because you can put, if I know like the house is going to have a casita in the back, or it has an unusually large lot size or something like that, you can add for that specific part. The solar is becoming more and more prominent. I'll show you how to adjust for solar, because it is a little tricky. That is a little bit of a tricky one. And to adjust for casitas, okay, for guest houses, well, I lost it. Okay, but this one's not really going to be a big deal. But you know, so you just have to be mindful of that. Now you see on our subject property, it's already all populated here. Okay, so we already have the stuff that we're going to do here. And then now once you have that in there, now we're going to go to picking our comps. Okay, so on the comps, I do it a little. I think I do it a little bit of a long way because I kind of get a little bit precise with it. So when you pick them, you don't want to limit yourself to, okay, so you don't want to limit yourself to putting just 3 bedrooms, just 2 bathrooms. If my subject property is 1,800 square feet, you don't want to put just 100 lower and 100 higher. Okay, you can put a little bit of a wider range. Appraisal standards is you don't want to go more than 20% of your appraisals of your subject property square footage. So if you have a 2,000 square foot house, you could take 20% of that, 20% lower, 20% higher. Okay, that's an appraisal standard. Okay, now you could do, you know, just normal how we do it. You know, most people do it, you know, 200, 300 square foot difference. If you have a house that's 10,000 square feet, you can go more. Okay, 20%. Okay, and that's a national appraisal practice. Okay, so try to find comps that typically within 1 mile. 1 mile is another appraisal standard. Appraisers, especially VA, FHA, they are mandated not to go more than 1 mile radius unless specific circumstances exist. If there's not any comps, they can do a variance and put it on the appraisal report to go wider. If you have a comp or you have a subject property like in way out there in the county, in Fabens or in Anthony, Texas, right on the state line, you might have to do a little bit of a variance, but I'll show you how to do all that. Okay, now when you're looking at your comps, you try to find comps that are closed within 90 days, maybe 180, 6 months at the most. Okay, if there's not, might have to go a little longer. Okay, so but do try to keep it within 90 to 180 days. Okay, especially now that the prices are really fluctuating more. Okay, try to really do that. If you can't find any comps at all, nowhere in the area because it's somewhere else, you can vary and use pendings. Okay, you can use pendings as it, but it's not going to be that accurate. Okay, and appraisers also will use a pending because it's not active pendings. Okay, you cannot compare a 1 level to a 2 level home versus you cannot use new construction to compare to a 1980s built or a 1960s built. Okay, reason being, 1 to 2 level home, the cost of construction is vastly different. Okay, a 2 level house will have a foundation and it will have the 2 floors. That same size house, the foundation on a single level is double the size, double the roof, double the wiring and plumbing. It's a lot more expensive to build a single level than a 2 level. Okay, and the market reacts differently between single level and 2 level homes, so you do have to have that accurate, you know, to have the good comps for accuracy. Okay, the homes should be ideally around the same age. Now, you don't have to be very specific with that. It can be 10 years, 20 years, but not old to new. Okay, and new means even if it's a couple years old, it's still pretty new. Okay, so do try to stick within the range. Okay, if it's 80s, you can do 60s to 80s, but not 80s to 2020. Okay, makes sense? Okay, because it will now if you have a 2020 in an old neighborhood, well, you know, you can look at remodeled, because remodeled houses, an older home may be remodeled to appear the same as a newer home, but that will it makes it more of a premium price. Okay, so that could work. You could do it. Now, when we do our adjustments, this is a good way to remember it. Okay, when you have your stuff in there, like bedrooms and bathrooms, and you're comparing them, keep this in mind, and this is how you can remember it. This is how I remember it real good. CPA, like Certified Public Accountant, If CPA is poorer, then you add. Okay, comparable poorer, you add. CBS, comparable better, you subtract. Okay, because you want to bring them to the same value. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the comps, and then we'll focus more on this. Okay, so this I think is a pretty populated area. Now right here, I kind of leave it like that because the house I picked, I think it's right in the middle of the east side. I just picked one. So let's see what happens. Okay, so find the comps, and now when it gives a list, of course it's gonna give, well actually it didn't give that many. I was expecting like 100. But what I do, when it does come up with a lot, okay, I go over here, I go back to edit search, and then here, the status just closed. Okay, now we got exactly 3. Okay, so we can do that, and I didn't get that many. So on the this is where you can change the status state. Okay, if you want to change it differently, you can go 30 days back, or you can go 90 days back, you know, or see you're only getting 1, so you can go 180 days back. Oh, we're getting 2. So let's go.
Is that a 79925 area?
I don't know.
it
I
is.
just picked
I
the
already
house.
know. I already
You know,
know
but
one of the
okay,
comps.
so let's say, and that's why I picked it, so you can
Yeah,
see,
that's
because
a tough one.
I didn't want to come in fully prepared, and then you guys are like, well, how'd you get that? How'd you get
Yeah,
that?
that is a 79925
We get it
area.
in a tough area, so we can work with it. So I'm going to leave it just like this. So I only got 1 comp. Let's see. Okay.
Still going.
Yeah, it's sometimes MLS, man, and then especially on this, sometimes if you have to go back, it'll erase all your stuff, and it's kind of annoying. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, I still see it. I have a very small area there. Okay, so what I do, instead of going back to pick it again, to pick the radius, because I get so afraid that MLS is gonna jam up on me and it's gonna mess me up. So I go here to my polygonal. See this little weird thing? I select that, and then I'll kind of go up higher, okay? And then I just click once, and I kind of start going around like this, okay? I'll kind of, and then double click it, and then we'll see what we get. Okay, now we got 78, okay? Now there's 78 there. So now I can narrow this back down. So let's do 90. Okay, 36. So let's do 60. And I know you can start off real quick with something else, you know, but I like to do it like that, and I don't put in the square foot. You notice that, you know, you can go lower, add a field, put your square footage, but since there's so many, I want to narrow it down to the status date before I start looking at that, because I don't want to restrict myself from a good comp that might be 1 square foot less and miss out on that comp, because I'll show you how you can adjust for your square footage. Okay, so now that I got, let's say 25, now I'm gonna go to list, and then I see they should all populate, and then have it at a list if it doesn't jam up on me. Come on now. Okay, there we go. So now on here, I look, and I just and I eyeball, okay, each one. Okay, so my subject property was 1883 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, right? So I'm gonna kind of look at it like that. Okay, so and then I look to see. I look at the pictures, because you want a comparable property that looks similar. You see that 2-car garage? It's like a brickish style looking house, right? Okay, and that's how I do it. So I'm gonna look down. I say, well, that one right there looks okay, but it's too big. Okay, that's a little too big. 1,500, but that style, we still got a lot to go through. So I'll just kind of keep eyeballing. This one's not comparable because it looks totally different. Okay, so. And see, 2 stories, you can't. Now, I could have narrowed all that down. As you do more and more, you can narrow it and just select single level, just select age. You can do all that. Okay, so you don't have to do it exactly how I'm doing it. I know I take a while to do it, but because I'm so precise, I don't want to miss anything. Okay, I want to see everything there is, unless I'm trying to do it in a hurry. Then I'll put in all the fields and hey, let's just narrow this down really quickly. Okay, this one here, yeah, this one here looks okay. Now I already eyeballed the inside of my, let me see if I can do this if it doesn't mess me up. Okay, so I actually didn't even go through the pictures before I picked it. So you should, okay, you should know what the house looks like. Okay, so this isn't
Monwood, no?
what is it, Seaside? What is that? Yeah, somewhere. I literally just picked.
Sam Seed, that's
Okay.
around the YWCA on 79936 area.
So this house is pretty well done. Okay, important things to look for when you're doing your comps is look at the kitchens and bathrooms and flooring. That's gonna tell you the extent of the renovations that they did. Okay, so for example, bathroom, nice. Okay, looks pretty nice. Okay, so we're gonna come through it. You know, still looks pretty nice. Those sinks might be a little bit older style, but hey, she's a pretty one. Okay, and it's okay, and the kitchen very nicely redone. Okay, and so that's how we're gonna do it when we go through the pictures. Now, is that an accurate comp? No, it's not, right? So we can't use that one. Okay, damn, because the outside matched, but not the inside. We could, I could show you how to adjust for price and condition, but it would be extreme. Okay, so you don't want to, yeah, you don't want to have to be doing that. Okay.
People do put it.
That's a single car garage. And look, you don't have to be so focused on picking that perfect comp if you can't find anything else, okay? Because remember, you're still going to be doing adjustments. Now, if the square footage is way off, no, because then your comps are not going to make sense. Even when you do the adjustments, they're not, okay? So let's say that's a 2-story. Okay, how about this one? What does that one look? No, yeah, that one's not a good one. Okay, how about this one? This one is okay. It kind of, it can jive with it, but
It has the vaulted ceilings with the things on the middle,
Yeah.
the beams.
yeah. See, it has them. So I go straight and I look. These are bad pictures. I go straight and I look for the kitchen.
Those are cell phone pictures.
Nope.
Yeah, it's not gonna be good. Okay, so.
That's as close as you're gonna get. Though.
Yeah, well, maybe. That's why I go through all of them. If I don't find nothing, then I'll widen the search to search more back. Okay, because remember, I'm only at 60 days? Okay, so I'll go more back. And I know it seems like it's taking a long time now, but I can bang. I mean, you guys that I've done CMAs for you, I get them fast. Okay, but right now it's because we're yapping a lot and doing all the talking. Okay, so then I'll go back to the list and eyeball here. And typically I can go back and narrow it down just by putting 200 square feet or so, but I'm doing this more for the training. Okay, so let's see that. Well, when was that one built? That one doesn't look like it'd be good. So this one maybe, let's see, what does the inside look? No, it's not gonna be good. Well, that's not too, not really.
No.
Nah, it doesn't look the same. Okay, it looks pretty outdated. Okay, so what about that one? What is the size of this one? 1400. That is a little bit too small.
1383.
1383.
No, the one that you have.
Mhm.
It's 1383. No.
No, it was 18.
1800.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 1883. So, yeah, it's a little bit too small. What does this one look like? That one's a beast, though.
I've seen
So,
that house. That's
yeah.
a very pretty house.
Yeah, that one's a beast. Okay, look, let's do this. Let's
And
do
it
this
does
for
have a
training.
Very nice kitchen.
So we don't waste too much time, so I can show you the adjustments. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pick it. Okay, we'll pick it. It's a little extreme, but the concept is so I can go into the adjustments and show you how to play ball with that.
The problem
Okay.
with that one is going to be that it has a guest house.
Oh yes. Okay. We'll put it in there anyways. Okay. Now, if I was doing a real one, I wouldn't pick it. Okay. So I'm showing you for training purposes. Okay.
How about the one under it?
The one under the one I picked. This one. Oh, that one looks-
It has a pool.
Yeah.
Possibility.
It has a pool, but that's okay. Okay. I'll show you how.
So does the one with the guest house.
I'll show you how to do pool adjustment.
Pool
Okay. So
adjustment.
we'll pick it too. How big is it? It might not be the same.
Oh, I think it's smaller.
But yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's a lot smaller. But you know what? The concept I'll show you just so I can show you how to do the math. Okay, so we'll pick it anyways.
Square footage?
Yeah, for the
Okay.
for the price per square foot and the square footage adjustment.
I
When-
think those two should be enough right now.
Yeah.
We're running out of
Okay,
time.
so we'll do that. We'll just do two, and then return to CMA, and then it should bring it back. Then
We
something.
picked 'em.
Yeah, there they are.
Okay.
That's it, right? Those are the ones we
Yeah,
picked,
they're
right?
your
Okay.
comps, even
big
though they're
deal.
not the comps.
Okay.
You just kind of.
Yeah, see, there is a major difference. Now, you don't really want to see something like that, but sometimes it'll happen. Now, remember, these are not accurate. Okay, we should these
We're gonna
these
teach you how to
we
adjust
shouldn't
for
be.
them.
Yeah. So now when we get to the adjustments, okay, this is important. When you get to this part, or even when you get to the comps, always click the save. Okay, because if it locks up on you, and MLS does, it'll, especially if you push back, it'll lock up and it'll erase all your fields, and then you'll be pissed. Okay, you're gonna be like, damn. Okay,
For those of you that
So-
are not very patient and don't want to do the work, just hit save all the time.
yeah, and then just
Because then I hear him screaming from his office because he lost his work.
yeah. I don't scream anymore though. Okay, I've been reading a lot of don't kill the people around you books.
Yes.
Okay, so so I'm good.
After a
Gravy.
while, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so okay, where was I? Okay, so see, I saved it, and then it's gonna go back, and then I always put the address, here, and then you can go back to edit. Now, a little bit of annoying thing is when you go back to edit, it's gonna bring you all the way to the back page. So then you gotta remember where you left off, and then just go back here. Okay, so now we have the adjustment parts. Okay, and you have the city, the state. Okay, that should all be the same. Bedrooms, the bedrooms are the same, the baths are the same. But for adjustment, let's say that for training purposes, let's say that this was only a 2-bedroom, okay, for this house. That they only had 2 bedrooms. Now, so how are we gonna adjust to it? Now, also when you pick, just before we get any further, when you're picking your comps, the bedrooms are important. You don't wanna pick a 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom. Okay, because the market reacts a lot different to a 2-bedroom than it will to a 3, or a 3 to a 5. You can do 3-bedroom to 5-bedroom. You can use those as comps. Okay, if your subject is a 3-bedroom, you can compare it to a 5.
Does the bedroom have to have a closet?
The bedroom, it used to. Now it's changing to where it doesn't.
Yeah, the policy has changed that a bedroom doesn't need to have a closet to be considered a bedroom. What
Mhm.
constitutes a bedroom?
Really?
Yeah.
Heating and cooling?
It has to have a window and a door.
Yeah, it has to have 2 ways of getting out.
And
Okay.
now, it does not have to have a closet to be
Mhm.
considered a bedroom.
Yeah, because a lot of the older houses, they don't have closets. They had the armoires or
So
whatever.
if you ever say,
So-
I walked in there, they said it was 3 bedrooms and there wasn't a closet, you can get into an argument with this listing agent, and that's not the case. You just,
And the thing is, it's
It
still
has come- it has changed.
it's still considered living area if it's heated and cooled. Now, the big difference is that if you have a 3-bedroom and 5-bedroom, the house can be about the same size, but the bedrooms are just going to be smaller. If you have a 2,000 square foot versus 2,900 square foot, it's still going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath most likely, but the living space is going to be a little bigger. That's it. Bigger living room, bigger master bedroom.
Okay, but you just said living space, and
Uh-huh.
then you said heating and cool. Does that mean every room that is heating and cool is considered living space?
Yes.
If my garage is heating and cool,
Yeah, it can be considered. Now, but a garage has different use though.
okay.
Okay, it's a different use. It can be converted to a living area.
Okay.
A garage in itself does affect appraisal value. Okay, it's not that it's not that, hey, that's a bedroom. It has the potential to be converted to a bedroom, but its current use is a garage. Okay, so that's how we go with that. Okay, so
Now,
now
how do you rate a garage? Do you rate a garage by 2-door, 3-door?
I'll get
or
into that.
Square footage.
I'll get into that right now.
Okay.
We'll get into that. So let's say this was a 2-bathroom house. Our subject is 3. So if it was a 2-bathroom house or bedroom, bedroom. So the comparable is poorer, right?
Right.
Less bedrooms. Subject, comparable, it's poorer. So CPA, you add, okay? Here's the mouse pad. So you add. So now here's our handy dandy little subject stuff here. So see how I worded it? Average to good, good to excellent. Average to good is kind of like what we've got, okay? It can be good or it can be good to excellent. So I would probably pick right in the middle, okay? Now excellent for me, getting into $1 million homes. Excellent, okay? Average, like the ones that had that brown countertops and stuff, that's average. Average home, nothing too special. Now, this is average pricing. 200,000-300,000 up to $500,000 is about average pricing. If you get into a house, it's about $1 million, 1.5 million. You are of course going to raise the comps a little. There is no set standard. I did research on this and I came up with this, and I've been pretty accurate so far. So I think it's pretty good. And just like the chief appraiser said, there's really none. You just have to know your market. That's why appraisers are required to work in their market for 5 years before they can get an independent license.
I'm gonna do a training on the appraisal, how to read the actual appraisal, because I just got through a training on that, and you can see the numbers and the adjustments. So what Billy is demonstrating here is what we're seeing in appraisals. Because I was surprised, even as a broker, how much information I did not understand on the appraisal, and now I do.
Yeah, there is a lot, okay? And appraisers have a lot of leeway in how they can adjust, okay? So this is just preliminary, okay? So now, where were we? Bedrooms, let's say average to good, well, bedrooms is typically just 8,000, okay? Unless you get into the very big ones. So that's why I didn't really put much adjustment. So if this was poorer, okay, so CPA, subject poor add, so you would just put 8, 1, 2, 3, 8,000. You don't have to put the plus sign. When you click over, it's going to show the plus, okay? If it's worse, let's say this one had 4 bedrooms, okay? Now typically between 3 and 5 bedrooms, or if you have 4 and 5, you really don't need to adjust for appraisal standards because the house is pretty much the same size. I still do, because I like to be very precise, and to me, 3 and 4 bedroom makes a difference to me for the market. So I adjust for it. But a typical standards of practice is you really don't have to, but I still do. So let's say that this one had more bedrooms. Let's say it had 5 bedrooms. Okay, and the bedrooms we have 8,000, but let's say we don't want to adjust that much because it's not so grandiose, and we just want to take out maybe 14, okay, instead of the 16, okay? So you just put the minus, and then when you click over somewhere, then it'll save it. So when you're doing the subtract, you have to put the minus. When you're doing the adding, you don't have to. Okay, make sense so far? Mm-hmm. Good? Okay, now let's go to the baths, okay? Bathrooms is all equal, but it's the same thing, okay? If one of them had less or more, now the bathrooms is different because remember, a bedroom is just walls. Bathrooms is components, okay? So a bathroom you have 4 components. Sink, the toilet, I was gonna say something else. Okay, sink,
My God.
toilet, but we're being recorded, so, and then shower and tub. Okay, that's why you have 3/4 baths, half bath. You'll never see a 1/4 bath. I think that'd be just a laundry wash thing. Okay, so, or just a toilet. Okay, so that's how it is. So the bathrooms, average to good or good to excellent. If you have half a bath, you just divide it in half. Okay, if you're gonna do 3,000 adjustment, you just divide it in half. If it's a half bath, if it's 3/4, take 75%. Okay, make sense?
So you only count those 4 items. You wouldn't count a bidet.
No, no, because no, that's an additional rare.
High-end.
That's a rare French feature, I guess. Okay, so
Or what about a
The
jacuzzi
day
tub?
is.
No, because
How can you
it's still a
explain a
tub.
bidet?
Toilet with a water hose
With
inside.
toilet
the,
water.
the
Oh.
ash washer.
Oh, we have one of
Yes.
those.
You'll be super fresh, man. You don't got one? You should get one. Especially on a hot, humid day. Come on. Come on, man. Everything's always interesting and central. Okay, so so that's how. Okay, so does it make sense? You want me to run through numbers? Okay, so when we
Square
get
feet.
the square footage now. Okay, so right now I'm gonna skip this one and go to sold price per square feet. Okay, I should have picked one more comp so it can make it a little more challenging, but we'll work with this and you'll get the idea. So now when you're
We'll
doing,
recap next week, because,
yeah, I can do it again.
yeah.
You know, because
I'm gonna ask you guys to bring your computers next week, or bring something so we can work on part of it, okay?
Okay.
One thing is to see, but to actually do it, guess what?
yeah, when
That's
you
when the
actually do
nitty-gritty
it,
gets
then
done.
you're gonna feel that kind of confusion
You're
a little
like,
bit.
what did he say?
So square feet difference. GLA is gross living area. Okay. So first you take the average of all the comparable sold price per square foot. So we'll do that step. Okay. And where's my calculator here so I can show you? Okay. So now I bring this up, my calculator here, and then we're gonna do the average, which is it's only 2, but so we'll do 171. You don't have to pay attention to the pennies. I do because I'm so OCD that way, and I'll start itching if I don't. So I do that, and then plus,
Round down.
yeah, 151. I'm just gonna put. You don't have to, okay? But I am, okay. So, and then I didn't put the right one, okay? So plus 171. Okay, so now it's that, and then what is the next step that we have? First, take the average, and then you divide. I didn't put the divide. Okay, so then it's just divide by 2, right? Because we only have 2. So that is your average of the sold price per square foot, 161. Okay, and the next step that we have. Second, multiply the average price per square foot by 40%. Okay? Now, I know you're going to ask, why do we use 40%? Well, I'll tell you why. Okay, right now. Okay, so this is a dollar amount that is adjusted for the whole house. Okay, so the sold price per square foot at 40%, it accounts from the insulation that's in the wall, to the landscaping, to the wiring, the windows, everything for that improved property. And that's why we do 40% of it. There's a lot of agents that they do their own kind of research and they come up with their own little formula and they don't times it by 40%. And they're just timesing it by the average, which gives you a lot wider range. That's why the 40%, because you have your lot and in the house, and on average that accounts for about 40%, give or take, okay, as a national whole. Okay, so now we have the 161, so times 0.40, and that gives us $64.43. Okay, now on the next step, this is a dollar amount adjustment that you will multiply the difference of square footage for the comparable sale. Okay, so what did we have? What was it? 64.43. Okay, so now we'll go back here. Okay, now this is where you do your square foot adjustments. Now, the one on Traywood is so close. If you're within 100 feet or so, or 50 feet more likely, you don't really have to adjust for it. I do. I'll adjust for this even though it's only 5 difference, but just because I'm OCD like that. Okay, so but I'll show you.
You know what? And he's already there. It's just one more way to get better at your craft.
Mhm.
If you're already there and you have the time, just do it. Then it just becomes
Okay, so
part of what you're doing.
Well,
You know?
what's the -5?
well because I did it backwards.
Oh.
Okay, so you have that, and what was our dollar amount?
62.
62.42.
62. 64.43? 62.43, right?
63 seconds. 63.
Oh my gosh.
You guys, okay, so now this is a real world problem. You wrote it down, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's a real world problem. Okay, like she did, do write it down, because I have done that, especially when I'm doing 3-4 comps, and I'll forget the number. I'm like, damn, and then you gotta go back and do the math again. So like she did, write it down like that. Usually I'll just type it here in the comments, the number, and I'll just type it in there, and then I have
I
it.
have a running list like a
So.
I write the square
Mhm.
foot of the main
Yeah.
subject, all the details, and then I do.
So what was it?
64.43.
Yeah, 64.43.
And then it's times 5, right? So now we have a total of 322.15. Okay, and on this, well, I mean, you can put the pennies if you want or not. Okay, but so this, our subject and the comp is better, right? It's
Yes.
bigger. It's better. Okay.
It's better.
So
The comp is
if
better.
it's comp better CBS, comp better subtract. So on this one we're gonna subtract, what was it, 322?
322.15.
So then you put like that. 322 and 15. Well, 15 is not gonna make much difference. Okay, in fact,
It
let you
rounds
put
it up
yeah.
on the system.
Now on this one, see, there is a major difference. We shouldn't even be using that as a comp, but for training.
For
Okay,
training,
so
maybe the gamma.
so it's 1883 minus 1291. 592. Okay, that's a big difference. Times, what was it?
6443.
Major difference. But you see what that does when you so if you do have a comp that's all you can do, all you can use, that's how you adjust for the major difference. Okay, and surprisingly it's still pretty accurate. Okay, it'll still be pretty accurate, but you have to make sure that you don't have any other comps, because if there is, the appraiser will find it and it'll throw yours off. Okay, so if it's 38,142,
And we're gonna
okay,
add it.
so you add it, right? Because your comp is poor. Okay, so all you do is 38.
20.
Oh, 38. What was it? 142. What does it matter? Okay, so but like that. Oh, and then don't push enter. Okay, so you just put it like that. When you type it in, just click somewhere else, and it'll put the plus sign in front. Okay, make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Not confused with the formula?
No.
Okay. So, and then on the price per square foot, I leave this one blank in case I need to do adjustments for price and condition. No, quality and condition. Okay, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Okay. So then we go down the acres. It's pretty good. You have to be careful with your acre size. In the city, no big deal, like this one. It's a lot's a lot. If you go up into Anthony or way out there in Socorro or Fabens, you might have a very large lot. Now, the lot has to be usable. If you have a lot that's up on a hill and it drops down into a ravine or into the Rio Grande or whatever it is, that's not a usable lot, so it's not functional.
Whether it's on the city or out there?
Yeah, even if it's out in the middle of the county, you know, if you have a big lot in the city, I mean, if it's usable lot, big lot, it'll add value. But if you're, like, let's say you're up on the mountain, right in the middle of the city, and you're up there, but your lot's pretty big, but it's all rocky and down, you can't do nothing with it. So it's really not gonna bring much value. You know, if you do have something that extreme, you can let me know and we'll work through it. Okay. Your build, not bad. 78s, 92. Okay. Sold 8. Garage. Okay. So double attached. See, now, here's the thing too. Okay. These are usually not going to be very accurate. Okay. It's because sometimes they just don't put them in correctly when the listing agent is entering MLS. So what you can do, these are hyperlinks. Oh, I clicked it too soon. But you saw where I clicked, right? I clicked on the house, and that's when you can look, okay? And you can see, for example, with the garage, I'll look, double attached, 2-door. Okay, but that's obvious, I can see it, okay? If you can't see it, when you get into the refrigeration part, sometimes it's just blank, because they won't put it, but they'll put it in remarks. Okay, so you'll come and you'll look, well, cooling, Okay, it says ceiling fans and refrigerator. Okay, now I can see it. If for some reason it doesn't say on there, then you check your remarks to see if it says. Okay, if you can't find it anywhere, that they just didn't put it, then you go to your pictures and you start looking. So what I do is I'll go to the pictures and I'll look and then see if I can see outside somewhere. Okay, and then I already saw where the AC unit
Can you
is.
call the listing agent that sold that property?
Here it is.
You can call them. I've gotten calls on my
Mhm.
listings when there was something that might have not been clear, or they wanted to know the reason why the drop in the price or something, and you can share that information. Appraisers call you too.
Yeah.
Especially if information is a little bit not clear, and that's the only comp or two comps that you can come up, and you wanna make sure you're within the, parameters. Call the listing agent, and just say, hey, congratulations, I'm working on this, it's kinda tough. Can you tell me, did they convert? And they'll give you the information. Unless they're super busy and they just don't wanna cooperate, then I get it. But for the most of the time, they're very cooperative, okay?
Okay, for the garage, they're pretty much the same, but let's say just so we don't spend so much more time.
There's a single attached.
Yeah, so the garage, okay, it's measured by the amount of cars that it can fit. Okay, so there's no real difference between two each individual door than one big door. Okay, it's how many cars can fit in it. So this one, it's a 2-car garage. Let's say good, it'll be 8,000. If our subject had a garage and the comp didn't, they all do here. But let's
I've seen some that say 1.5.
1.5 car garage.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's just bigger than 1 car bay. But if you can't fit 2 cars, there's no appraisal adjustment for that. It's a 1 car only because you can only fit 1 car.
All right, how would you adjust mine?
It's a 2-car garage.
It's a oversized 2-car
Yeah,
garage?
it's oversized.
It's
Yeah, but
3 cars
so
wide.
it used to be. So his house was a special circumstance because it originally was supposed to be 3, but they adjusted where the doors have to be on this side. So now it's extra long 2-car garage. You see? So when you have a case like that and you have like the 1.5 or so, and you say, well, it's average to good, I'm not going to quite give it 8,000, but I could give it 6. You see? It's kind of like your best guess a little bit, so you can make adjustments that way. Now, and then you just do the same thing here. If the comparable's poor, like single attach, let's say this one has a single, okay?
And it does.
Yeah, and it's a single car garage, then, it's comparable poorer, so you'll add, okay? You'll add the
4,000.
yeah, the 4,000. I would go back and kind of look and see on a major adjustment like that. I would look and see the conditions. Fireplace is the same. Now,
Here's what I found.
I thought I said Siri.
What's a fireplace?
Yeah. So now the fireplaces, it's a standard 1,000. 1,000 or 2,000. This usually applies when you get into the very high-end houses. If you get into $500,000 or so, the fireplaces can be very extravagant. Okay, so that's when you'll use your hyperlinks and you'll go through the picture and see what the fireplace looks like. Okay, you don't have to get hung up on a few $100s here and there, but if it's a big thing, $400,000, $500,000 house, go and have a look and see. Okay, now okay, lot size. The lot size, that's not too much of a. There is a little bit of a difference here, but we're not gonna adjust too much on that because it's in the city and it's the same function. Okay.
Traywood has a massive lot.
Yeah, it does. So on that, it's just depending on the functionality. Okay, and it really doesn't adjust too much on it unless you can use it for like farmland or things like that. So you don't really have to worry too much on that. Now, the pools, okay? The pool is a major adjustment.
Okay.
7,500 to 20,000 depending on the style of the pool, okay? Now, this can probably be a little bit higher now because some pools, they're costing about $100,000 just to put in, Okay, and then it all depends on what you put. So since these two have pools and our subject doesn't, we need to come to the pictures and you need to look at it and look and see what the pool looks like. Now it looks okay. It looks pretty nice. You know, the cool decking is pretty good. Okay, so you know, it's a nice looking pool, and I want to see how it's set up. That yard is pretty good size too. Okay,
It's 3
so
yards.
okay, and it also has a hot tub in there.
Yeah,
So, and it's leveled up. That's an expensive pool.
and that's
Okay.
the guest house.
Yeah, and it has that is not a good comp for what we're using. But okay, so but just so you know, that is a very nice, good looking pool. So I will give it the most I can give. Maybe even a little bit more. But since our houses are not expensive, if our house was $750,000, I'd probably go more. Maybe I'd go $40,000 for adjustment. Okay, but a $750,000 house would have a bigger pool than that. Okay, maybe. Okay, so that's what you would do, and then so on here the comparable is better, so
subtract.
you would subtract. So you would put minus 20, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then this one is the same thing. You go in and you'll look at the pool. Okay.
It's a pretty big pool, but not very fancy-wancy.
Oh, for this house that I'm clicking on right now.
From what I remember. Not compared to the other one.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So see, this one is it's still pretty nice. So I mean, look at the size of that thing.
It's still
Yeah.
the jacuzzi.
It's still big. That one I would probably still give it about the same.
It's a
Okay.
big pool.
Yeah, because it looks pretty good size, and it's well done. It has a nice tile. Cool decking is not as fancy as the other one, but it's still pretty comparable.
Is that a hot tub as well?
That is a hot tub.
It's
up there.
deeper though.
Yeah, it does look deeper. It looks similar to your pool actually. So that I do the same thing. Okay, so comparable, better, you subtract. So it would be the minus 20. Okay.
That's for permission.
Hmm?
We have power pass us for permission.
Oh, do you guys want to keep going, or do you guys need to get going?
I can. We can keep going.
We're almost done. Okay, so the guest house now. If you have a guest house, just call me, because that one's going to be a challenge. Okay, the guest house, it's adjusted differently. If you try not to, if your subject doesn't have a guest house, try not to pick a comp with a guest house, because it is a major difference, and the market reacts differently to that. Okay.
That's a very nice kit.
Yeah. Now, refrigerated air. Refrigerated air is a big one too. Just like I said, see, this one doesn't have anything. Okay. See, it's like they didn't input it. So you use your hyperlink and look at it. Okay. And then see what it says. Evaporative cooling. Okay. It says evaporative cooling. Now, our subject, what did our subject have?
Refrigeration.
Let me close all these, because they're always going to keep opening. Okay, so our subject did have refrigeration. It did. So, and then we should have done, when you have all the info, you can come over here to your subject and then put it in. Okay, so if you have refrigeration, you just put
It says
yes.
cooling refrigeration.
No, but this I put it in like that.
Mhm.
I title like this: yes or no. Okay, so and then put it like that, and then when you come to your adjustments, okay, let's go down. Okay, so it has yes, and then this one has none. So when you have it here on our sheet here, the refrigeration, it's 6,000 per unit. Okay, so you'll have to go into MLS and then see if it says 2 units or 3 large units. Usually they usually advertise it. They'll put it. Now if you have a house that's 3,000 square foot or higher, likely it's going to have 2 units. If it's 2,000 square feet, it's pretty much just going to have 1, or it might have 2 little small ones. If it doesn't say it, you can look at the pictures and you can see. Okay, but the important thing is just to get some adjustment in there. Okay, so it's 6,000 per unit. Okay, so we'll go ahead and skip forward because we're already running over. I don't want to hold you guys too much. Now, The solar system, okay? Now that there's so many houses with solar on there, you can go into MLS because there's such a large adjustment for it. Now, if the solar system is leased, if it's leased, like they're just renting it, there's no value because they don't own it. Yeah, and now leased is like renting. If they're financing it, it could, because they likely are going to pay it off at the sale with the sales proceeds. Okay, so when the seller sell, and the listing agent will put it on MLS, or they should. Majority do. They'll say solar panels to be paid off with the proceeds of the sale. So the new buyer will have a free and clear solar system. Okay, so now the kilowatt hours, that's how much it's measured in. Okay, so a typical house, like 2,000 square feet, it's going to have 5 to 6 kilowatts. Okay, so it's going to be a little tricky, and likely they're not going to put that in. This is something that you're good, because no, they don't know how to measure that. Now, if you want to know, you go to the solar system, and I'll show you. It has a big tube next to it. You can pull it out, and it'll tell you all the schematics of it. Okay, but it's a little. That's more like when you're going to do a listing, so you can see how much to list your house for. Okay, so if you do have something with solar, I can help you in the beginning to get you rolling with that, because the solar can be a little tricky. If it doesn't have it on MLS, if it's going to be paid off or not, that you need to find that out, because especially the appraiser is going to want to know too, and then your buyer's also going to want to know, am I going to have to take that over or not? Because remember, that's a separate loan. They have to qualify to take over payments. Okay, so it's 2 qualifications they'll have to do.
There's houses that haven't sold because of that.
Yeah.
Because they qualify for the houses but not for the solar.
Exactly, because it's 2 separate. It's personal property and real property. Okay, so and that really sums it up. Now, the workshops, the workshop is like large metal building. Okay, you're gonna have a lot of stuff like that. Now, they pretty much appraise for how many cars can we fit in there. If you're gonna have a large metal building like out in Socorro or Anthony, or Horizon City, somewhere like that, you have these big, large structures. I mean, they can cost $50,000 or $100,000 just to build that thing. These big, large metal beams, but it doesn't give that kind of value in return. The value in return it gives is by the functionality, the cars that it can fit in there. Now, if it's a storage building, you get minimal. We messed up. I did a big error in appraising this house, or not appraising, but giving a price opinion in a house in the Northeast, because it had these 2 really nice storage units, the tough sheds. They insulated them, put drywall. It was like a room, and I loved it. And I know each one of those units costs about $10,000 because I have one myself, but it's not insulated like that one is. And I said, if I was buying this house, I sure as hell would be happy to give 10 grand over. Well, appraiser didn't see it that way. And I asked appraisers, because I see them pretty often. I asked them, I said, no, we can't get value for that because of the functionality of it. Now if you could put a car in there, it's different. But for that building, and it was embarrassing for me, remember?
Oh my gosh.
We still sold it. We still got it sold.
I had a different price point, and we had it evaluated. But do you know how hard it is to backpedal when you've made a mistake like that?
Mm-hmm. But it happens.
We made the same mistake one time with a house way out. I mean, beautiful house, and it had that big metal building like you thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, that's a nice big storage building. It turned out to be an airplane hangar.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
That is embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Find a lot of things.
yeah, so and then if you want to calculate how many cars can fit in it, just measure, width, height, width, by the length, and just divide it by 280 square feet, and that'll tell you how many cars can fit on average. Okay, if you want to do something like that.
If the garage looks a little bit smaller than you think, there's not 2 cars that fit in there.
Okay. Once you have all your adjustments in, now let's go back real quick and do for quality and condition. Okay. If you really want to get very precise, or you have a house that's not matched very good, for example, this one. Okay. Very nice, a lot better than our subject. what you'll do is go through the pictures and you kind of look and compare them side to side to yours, and you're gonna say, okay, this one is just immaculate, it's superb, it's a lot better than mine. You know, how can I readjust? Okay, so on that one you can do, where is it? The quality, the condition and quality, $5 to $10 a square foot difference. Okay, so you're gonna have it on the difference of your square footage to it, and then you just add it. Okay, you'll add on this one. I would probably do maybe $7 or $8 a square foot, and then you just apply it to your subject. I mean, to your comp. Okay, so then you'll go to your square footage here, or not that one. Actually, yeah, I would put it on that one. Okay, and then you just add it. You just add it to your square footage, and then it'll adjust it for you. Does it make sense? Yeah. And that's really it. I think that's it for our adjustments here for the main parts. Okay. Once you get to the summary here, okay, and then here's what it's gonna have. Here's what it's gonna have all your stuff here. Okay, your medium. This is the medium price point, the low. If you want to do further adjustment for it, you can do it here on your recommendations. Okay, for your low, like let's say you don't want it to be that low on your low, then you can manually put in something. Okay, you can change it if you want. Okay, the medium, the recommended, usually I kind of leave that one as is because that's what you came up with. Okay,
So it came out to 254?
254.
What
Yeah.
is it priced at?
Well, remember we used totally wrong comps.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I know.
the house that we're looking at,
279.
yeah, 279.
Not much of a difference.
Yeah, but since we used such a high one, we took off so much, you know, and then we didn't do all the adjustments for everything. You know, I didn't put them in for every part, you know, so it would have. But even when you don't use, it's just like you can't say, well, with this formula, I can use a house of 10,000 square feet and just use that formula. It's not going to come out right. It needs to be fairly accurate. You can't compare a 10,000 square foot house and adjust so severely to come down to an 1,800 square foot house. It's just not going to work.
You want the minimum.
Yeah, you want minimal
What's that button
adjustments.
for? Have you talked about that one?
It recalculates. So if you make adjustments, like you go back and make further adjustments, you need to come back and push
And
recalculate.
you have to, because then it will not
Yeah.
adjust it.
So you say, oh, you know what? I forgot to add for the garage. And you go back and add it, then you come back. It's still going to be the same. It's still going to have the same numbers. So you got to push recalculate. Okay? When you get to the finish, I check pretty much everything. Okay, so I put those, you know, subject description. Now this is kind of, it depends on your people. If you have, most people like to see all the pretty charts and they like to see all the cool stuff, like, oh wow, look at all this work you did. Some people just say, just tell me the numbers. You know, so that's when you don't have to check off so much. You know, and when you do it like that,
Hit the view button.
and see, and then your CMA comes up. There's our subject property, there's the map, and it shows where we got our comps. Okay, and then here's for all our adjustments. Okay, but you see we left out quite a bit. And also because we only use 2, that's why we got such a weird number. But
On this one, you guys, where it says recommended price, if you have done your work correctly and you are not questioning the subject property you understand what it looks inside, they've asked you, then feel confident to put that. For myself, I rarely put that because if I haven't seen the property for any reason, people go by what they see. You're like, what it says there, you told me. I said, but then I got there and there was something you changed that you didn't tell me about. So be very careful with that one, okay?
Yeah, and that's why when you're doing a listing, a CMA for a listing, it is very important to
Yeah,
see
if you're
property
doing it
first.
for buyers, cause you have buyers, but for a listing, it's a whole different story. You need to be careful.
Like for me, I would say you can tell them I need to see the house and everything before you even do one. And just say, you know what, let me go and I need to take a few photos, so I can do my research. So I can do my investigation and come up with the best price for your property. But just taking them, you take them once, say, you know what, I did this, it's just preliminary, don't worry about it. If it's a lot lower than what you think, they're already discouraged. Okay? Or if it somehow comes out higher because of adjustments or whatever, and then you look at it like, oh man, I have to adjust down, they're not going to be happy. So it's better just to say, you know what, I still need to come, I'll do it. It's just like an appraiser's not going to tell you. They go and just do the photos. You can't ask them, hey, what do you think? They're going to say, no, I'm just here to take pictures. You're going to wait a week, because I need to go and do more investigation, And it's usually not even the appraiser that goes. They send their assistants to go do the pictures. Okay? So it is important to see the house first before you do a CMA like this. Okay? And see, and there's all the info. And that's really it. Any questions? You will have some, I'm sure, when you do them. Okay? But it's it is a good formula. The more you do them, and if you want to get proficient and practice with them, just pick a house, just like I did right now. I just came over here to the quick search. Okay, hold on. Let me go to another one, or save this one. Okay. You can just go to just quick search and then just pick one. Just pick a house, and then do a CMA on it. And you'll get better and better as it
Then you
goes.
click the CMA on the top, or
Yeah.
what
So
letters?
yours, you know what? Yours might not have this here because I put it for my hot points up on
Yeah,
the
I have
top.
it there too.
But it's just the ones you've done before.
Yeah.
Right.
So it probably does. If it doesn't, you can come over to menu and then just put the CMA there and see, and it'll bring that up. Okay. Now these are my CMAs, my saved CMAs. Okay. But if you don't have any, it will be blank.
Then you go to new, right?
Yeah. And then you just come up here, a new, and then that's when you select 4.
Because when I press new, or maybe I'm wrong, it pops up like a different thing. I'll show you right now.
Yeah. It's just the more you practice, you guys, it's like anything. If you are trying to find things to do and like, well, I already called, I already do this, I already did that, practice your CMAs. Pick houses or areas that your clients are working on and practice doing CMAs.